In the 1960s and 70s, school segregation declined rapidly in the United States, due in large part to federal enforcement of the Supreme Court's Brown versus the Board of Education ruling. But more than 50 years later, a handful of Florida school districts remained under active desegregation orders. As News 13's Grace Velez tells us, Jackson County was one of them. That is, until a couple of days ago.
In July of 1970, a federal court filed a desegregation plan for the Jackson County School District and several other districts across the state of Florida. The difference is Jackson County just got theirs dismissed on September 16th of 2025. But some Jackson County residents were around when it got filed, and they remember why.
There was so much to remember. There was a great changes, going on.
Many of the changes became obvious within a few years. At one point in the Jackson County School District, their yearbooks went from looking like this to looking like this in just under a decade. These two yearbooks are from the same school, Mariana High. This one's from 1961, and this one's from 1970, after they had already integrated. Now, that integration didn't come without a little bit of help from the federal court.
I was actually a senior in high school in 1970 when all this started. And I could remember a lot of the causes of it, yes.
Aside from being in the first group of students to integrate, former school superintendent Steve Benton says he doesn't remember it being the biggest deal. Benton grew up in Malone, where everybody already knew each other.
We did not have issues with it. Actually, we had already worked together in the watermelon fields and peanut fields and everything else. I mean, it was no big deal back coming up as far as the integration part.
But once he began working with the school system under the court order, he began to understand it.
Trying to make things the best that you can, and others working the same way, trying to do the best they can with the situation as it was. And things had been different, for so long, and right then you had to comply with things that you had never complied with before.
95-year-old Vivian Kuntz was teaching at the blacks-only Jackson County Training School when she received mandatory orders to integrate into Mariana High to help address unfair hiring practices.
I didn't want to leave my students, but I didn't mind going, and if that was my assignment.
As years passed, Jackson County school officials were able to provide evidence they were following the court's guidelines.
The next thing we worked on was our hiring practices discriminatory? Were we hiring enough primarily African-American teachers and administrators, and we supplied data on that for a period of time. We sort of changed the way we looked at the data.
School District Attorney Matthew Fuqua has been working to dismiss the court order for 16 years. He says the district had to meet several benchmarks.
The first thing that I worked on was the provision that said our school construction and our transportation was not discriminatory. So we filed motions on that, and the court checked that off. Then we still had left hiring and discipline. The next thing we worked on was hiring, and we submitted data to the U.S. Attorney that showed our hiring practice were not discriminatory, and we checked off that box. Then we moved to the last box, which was student discipline.
Fuqua says Hurricane Michael, the pandemic, and turnover in the Justice Department lengthened the process before they achieved full unitary status.
Providing the best education for all of our students. We have just at 6,000 students, and every day, every year, we're getting better and better in Jackson County, and I'm just excited that this is finally behind us.
I don't see Jackson County having any more issues, now or later. I just feel like that, it's a good community to work in, and we have all kinds of people working today, and I just feel good about it. It's just a stamp of approval. It's something that the courts should have gotten rid of a long time ago.
Throughout the process, school officials say they identified some areas that still needed improvement.
We were able to fix some problems or find a way to look at things from a different light in hiring and in student discipline to say, hey, what can we do better to attract better teachers, more teachers, minority teachers, and get our students graduated. Even with our student discipline data that we had, we were graduating African American students at a higher rate than most anybody else.
Attracting minority teaching applicants remains a struggle. Nolan says putting this case behind the school district means they'll have to jump through fewer hoops.
Going for any type of funding, building schools, it's just more work for us to do to acquire certain things that would benefit all of our students in Jackson County. And seeing this across the finish line and getting this completed, it's a great thing.
It was a long journey to get the court order dismissed. It was an even longer journey for those who fought for the ruling and lived through the aftermath.
Working in that system, your job is on the line. I think segregation is terrible. So some of the things that go along with segregation are horrible.
At times, the battle was dangerous. Community leader Elmore Bryant and attorney Ted Bowers were on the front line of the Jackson County integration case.
There were some teachers who were fair, and there were some who really didn't help the situation at all. So we had met that night and discussed some things that had happened that day. And everybody usually would, sometimes we would pray or whatever. And we broke up. And Ted headed back to Panama City. All us lived here or close around. When he got somewhere down the Panama City Highway, he had called back, and his sister found out that some explosion went off under the car. To this day, we don't know whether it was a dynamite or what it was.
Bowers died in 2017. Bryant died last year. Neither lived to see this day, but their legacy of fighting for equality remains. In Jackson County, Grace Velez, News 13, Panhandle Strong.
Well, Bay County remains under active desegregation orders. We'll tell you more about that case next week here on News 13.